Welcome to a mini episode of the Educational Duct Tape Podcast. Mini episodes just like this one are released every other Wednesday and feature interviews with educators that were recorded live on location at a conference or event. Please subscribe to the show to make sure that you don't miss any of these episodes. And now, here's the host of the Educational Duct Tape Podcast, Jake Miller.
Hello, Duct Tapers. Welcome in. Before we get into today's mini episode interview, I'd like to remind you to listen to full episodes of the podcast to hear longer interviews with my guests, my soapbox moments, and content from listeners just like you, the Duct Tapers. Also, those longer episodes give you the chance to earn a certificate of listening, laughing, and learning that you could turn in for professional development credits. Mini episodes like this one that you're listening to right now, however, are not eligible for those credits simply because they're so short. However, what they lack in certificates and episode length, they make up for in awesomeness. Speaking of that awesomeness, let's travel back in time to today's interview, which was recorded live and on location at a conference or event.
Today's guest.
All right, we're going to start recording this one so I can get Jeff Gargas to leave us alone here at Teach Better 19. I am honored to be here with the one and only Adam Welcome, who is just a regular guy, right, Adam?
100%.
100% regular guy.
Everybody's just a person.
Just
it's all your perception of who you think. And you know, I'm going to go off track for a second.
Go for it. I like it.
I remember when I first kind of got on Twitter, I thought there was that awe of like, oh my gosh, and then I realized very soon that they're just people that are putting out content. They're putting out their stream of consciousness. And you know what? I can be that person too.
Yeah.
So much of it is just getting over your fears and your inhibitions and your, oh my gosh, somebody may not like what I put out. And you got to get over that too, because put out what you think is what is good for your students and for your school, not what you think people want to see or what you think is going to get likes or retweets or comments. And some of the stuff I put out, people hate on.
Right.
And that's okay. It's what I believe in and what I do and what I talk about. And not everyone's going to like your message.
Yeah.
But if you think what is best for your students and your kids, you can be that person too. Just put it out. Don't sit back in fear of putting your name and your hat in the ring. Just go do it. It's totally okay. Because when you do that, you're going to learn as well too. It's not just other people learning. When you put out content, people give you feedback.
Yeah.
And you learn from that feedback. So that actually helps you in your thought process when you're planning for your school or your classroom or your district.
Right. And whether it's coming from people that you're talking to outside of the school, outside of the building, or in your classroom, or the parents.
It's a virtual conversation, which is great. And
it
takes the staff room in your grade level or department to a whole new level.
Right.
With people that have different perspective and different experience than you do.
Yeah, and it's cool right now. Like right now with social media, with podcasting, with Twitter, with Instagram, with all this stuff. It's like we all have a megaphone, right? It's just how we choose to use it.
That's right.
And I like what you said there about if somebody doesn't like your message, that's okay, right? Because there might be somebody else that loves your message that need to hear that message.
Personal.
Yeah.
And if you're a jerk, well then that's not cool. But if you're coming from a place of genuine want for students and your colleagues and your community, then okay, that's fine. Don't like me, then don't listen.
Right.
Or don't follow. I mean, I unfollow people from time to time. And I'm sure people unfollow me. And that's fine. That's your prerogative. Yeah. I'm not getting paid for followers, or you're not doing that. And surround yourself with the people that you think you can learn from so you can make your classroom the best place that it can be.
I like that a lot. Yeah, Seth Godin says, shun the non-believers. That's one of his quotes he says. And it's not like we don't like the people that don't believe in us. It's like, no, if this isn't their thing, okay, that's fine. I'm talking to these people over here. I'm sharing my message from my perspective.
And with that being said, don't live in an echo chamber.
Right.
Surround yourself with people that have maybe some somewhat different views, different experiences, that work in different parts of the country with different socioeconomic groups than you are, so you can get more perspective.
Right.
Because if you do live in a fishbowl, that's all you're going to know.
Right.
But don't listen to the people that are just haters or trolls, and then you delete your content, or you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm going to hide because somebody didn't like it.
Yeah.
That's a bully on the playground.
Yeah.
And it's just amplified to what you said on a virtual platform, which is, that's fine. Then I'm not going to connect with you.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that message a lot. So, Adam, a little background for the listeners that might not know you. I'm sure most of them do, but you've got 3 books out now, right?
3, man.
Kids Deserve It, Run Like a Pirate, and I'm blanking.
Empower Our Girls.
And Empower Our Girls is the newest one, right?
Newest one, yeah.
Newest one.
Yep.
And what's your background as an educator before all that?
Teacher, vice principal, director of innovation, which was the coolest job in the world. I did whatever I wanted.
Yeah.
That was creative. I had no responsibility in a large school district, 35,000 students. I had responsibility, but I was the creative person to go do classroom design, coding, video creation, work with parents around social media. It's a needed job because it's a moving target in 2019, and what I see in my work with school districts is there are not enough jobs like that. Too many people are supervising and putting out fires, and they're not being proactive.
Right.
And we need those proactive people with those ideas that have the time and the resources to say, this is what we're going to try, and then if it works on a small scale, we're going to bring it to a large scale. Technology companies have that, and yes, they have higher budgets than school districts, but there has to be a way to make it work on some level.
Right. Yeah, and that's the problem we see in a lot of classrooms, a lot of schools, is that they find those people, identify those people, and then they end up giving them responsibilities. And what you're saying is you really had freedom to find the things that helped benefit your students.
You're not in charge of the network. You're not supervising principals. You're literally in the middle, and you're immune from all that. Yeah. You're involved, but you're not getting sucked into this or sucked into that, and that's what happens, and then people don't have the ability or the time to be creative.
Yeah, I like that. So on Educational Duct Tape, we always talk about a certain question that a teacher might have, that an educator might have, and then we answer the questions with educational technology. So the educational duct tape metaphor is that the technology is at its best when it's a tool that we're using to solve the problem or meet the goal or address the learning standard, and then we identify the technology. So my question for you is, in relation to that, what tech tool can help students create? There's a lot of them out there. What ones do you recommend? What ones do you love?
I mean, I think video creation is the answer for everything. And if you have an iPad, I'm not a huge fan of iPads. How I see them used most of the time, they're used as consumption devices.
Oh, that's the truth.
So my challenge to people is if you have an iPad, take off all the apps, only have iMovie, because then kids have to create. They don't have to consume some math app, but just all that is a glorified digital worksheet. Kids have to explain, they have to plan, they have to edit, they have to collaborate, they have to problem solve, they have to work together, and then they have to show their class what they created. And when they know they're going to show their class and their colleagues in grandma in Tennessee or Kentucky, they're going to do their really best job, I feel. And I can't tell you how many kids, I call them snakes in the grass, their personality comes out when you put a camera in front of some students. You're like, where did you come from?
Right.
And they're able to explain their learning. Take the science fair. No more trifold cardboard for the science fair. It doesn't tell a story. It's a static explanation of some project that they did. Have them create a video, and they can put it online on YouTube, and the whole world can see it.
Right.
I just think video creation, pre-K to high school, my kids have been making videos, my own kids, since they were 3 or 4 years old. You just give them a phone or an iPad, and they just start creating, and then they start pushing buttons and figuring out all the little things. That's how kids explain their learning.
Right.
And you know what the adults need to do? Nothing.
Get out of the way.
They just need to say yes. They need to plan. The adult is the content expert, and they're the curriculum expert, and they're the relationship expert. They don't need to be the YouTube and the video creation expert. Teachers, the first video you make won't be very good. The second one may be a little bit better, and by the third video, some little 10-year-old's going to be like, hey, Mrs. Jones, can I help you make better videos? So just forget it and give them the power. Because you know what questions to ask. You know where to push kids and where to pull kids back in. And hey, and also, it's a job in 2019. I got friends that make $150,000 a year that make 30-second Instagram clips for companies to put on their Instagram channel.
And that's valid, but I like actually where you started with this. It was before saying that the video is cool, right, or video is great, is you're talking about the things we're trying to achieve for the students, those verbs you're trying to get to. You're trying to get them to plan out what they're going to say. You're trying to get them to craft their message. We're trying to get them to communicate.
The process is the same, but the outlet, the trifold cardboard, 1975 wants their cardboard back. We have different opportunities now. And the kids already know how to do it. You don't need to teach them, you need to allow them. And we don't allow enough. Too many doors are closed.
That's something that intimidates a lot of teachers. They feel like, I need to know how to use the technology first. No, you don't, right? You have to make sure the technology is safe for the kids.
You're not going to learn the technology first.
No.
You don't have the time. And if you do, you're going to miss so many other things along the way.
In the middle,
Focus on what you're the expert in. Let the kids be the expert in that.
I love that. That's great. Well, thank you so much for doing this
today.
Thanks
for having me.
Well, I'm so excited. You're doing a keynote here later
Closing
at
keynote?
Teach Better. What's the topic of the keynote?
Kids deserve it.
Kids
which
deserve
is broad. I leave it broad.
And you know what? They do.
People are going to laugh. People are going to cry. You're going to walk away with some ideas that you can implement on Tuesday after the holiday, which is always great. I love tangible takeaways. For teachers. So yeah, man, ready to rock and roll.
All right.
We're getting down there.
Awesome. I love it. Thank you for being on the show.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to the Educational Duct Tape Podcast. Please visit eduducttape.com to join the discussion, share possible topics, inquire about being a guest, or contact Jake. And remember, duct is spelled with a T, not a quack quack K.